And so now and then you'll get somebody, even Reagan was an actor, like there is a way if you get famous doing something else and then go into politics, that might be a way to have the money without the corporate puppet strings. But it shouldn't be like that. It should be if you have the good ideas and understand this stuff, you have a good mind for geopolitics, you understand foreign policy, history, different culture, like that's the person we need. But we end up with like Nikki Haley or, you know,
Or Vivek
some of these people with
Ramaswamy.
Lindsey Graham or what? Oh,
Just
awful.
just constructs of human beings, honestly. Just not even real people, they're just talking
It
points.
is amazing. You think we have 300 million people and that is the best. Where's the engineers? Where's the scientists? Where's the professionals? Where's the professional? See, that's what happened with Trump. You had a billionaire who decided, I want to be president. And he has so much money that he doesn't have to listen to any of them. And so they hated him. The entire mass media was anti-Trump uh, before he was even president. And they just never stopped.
What
They
happened
lied
there?
about him. They called him a racist. They had all this stuff because
Orange man
they didn't
bad.
know what he
Yeah.
was going to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't own him.
But what happened there? He was supposed to break the mold. He was supposed to drain the swamp. He was supposed to be the anti-war, anti-establishment president.
Well,
But now you see him, and
he was
he's
kind of anti-war. I mean, he didn't start any new wars.
when he
He
was,
made the
yeah.
plan to get out of Afghanistan. He told them to get out of Syria, and they disobeyed. He did cut corporate tax rates. He did get out of the Paris Accord. He did kill TPP. He killed NAFTA. He he renegotiated a lot of trade policies, especially with China, to make it more even. He did curb immigration, even though he didn't get all of his wall built. He got some of it, but just the threat of it got rid of a lot of that too. So he kept a lot of his promises. He did at the very end, he got transparency on healthcare. So they have to at least tell you what the price is, ahead of time. But a lot of the other stuff he wanted to do, he just couldn't do. Like Congress just was like, no. And he really had no one to work with. And he kept picking the worst people. He he thought, okay, I'll grab the military people. So he had, Mad Dog Mattis, and then he had Rex Tillerson,
who
and then
got
he had
who got
Mark
who got,
Esper, who
who
was
got honey
fired on the
trap,
9th
right?
of November.
Midas was honey trap, right?
he, they may have had dirt on one of his kids. They may have had dirt on Trump. Who knows? But they're like, why do you side with Israel? I'm like, because he always sides with money. But that sometimes the amoral business model goes against what Zog wants. So when it comes to Palestine and Israel, Israel has a big lobby. Palestine doesn't have a lobby, so he sided with Israel. When it came to Saudi Arabia and Yemen, he sided with Saudi Arabia because Yemen's small, Saudi Arabia is rich. However, when it came to Syria or ISIS, he sided with Syria because they're the bigger player. And when it came to Russia and Ukraine, he sided with Russia because they're the bigger player. So there were times where just siding with whoever has more money happened to be the right thing.
So
And
it's
they didn't like that. They want 10 out of 10, not 5 out
yeah,
of
he
10.
wasn't he wasn't principled in his anti-war stance, but at least it was something. I mean, if we're going by,
It wasn't like war's immoral. It's war's bad for business. And his whole thing is he's a businessman. He has a cold, amoral outlook on like, well, how does that make us money? It doesn't. What are we doing? Why are we giving money to these takfiri groups in Syria? Just let Syria and Russia handle it. We shouldn't even be in there. That was his attitude. He's like, this is a waste of money. I don't care why you pulled out. I mean, it ought to be because for moral reasons too. But man, just take the W. Just get out. Just take it as a win. And he was the first guy in decades not to start a new war and to de-escalate the ones that he inherited.
this much that we in the third world as well, here in Pakistan as well, we also recognize that Donald Trump didn't, he wasn't like Obama or Bush. I mean, I remember that, I don't remember the
Oh
exact
no,
incident.
Obama destroyed Libya and Syria, and
Yeah, the
Bush went
smart
into
war
Iraq.
doctrine, yeah, it was very smart. We know the amount of drone strikes that happened in Pakistan and our neighbor Afghanistan. We're
Oh
aware
yeah,
of them. Um,
Obama bombed Pakistan his third day in office.
yes, he did. And
Went
Obama
in, had a
technically,
party, all that first thing on his desk.
Technically,
Let's bomb Pakistan.
he drone striked the first American citizen, Anwar al-Awlaki.
He made a kill list, and he killed Anwar al-Awlaki, and he killed a cousin of his who's also American.
He killed his son in a follow-up, 16-year-old son in a follow-up strike.
And I think Trump killed one of his daughters.
Anwar al-Awlaki's daughters.
I just thought the one. This is what's bad is there's so many drone strikes where they'll hit weddings, funerals, whatever. Think of that sickness. This is Israeli type stuff. Oh, there's a whole bunch of cars because there's a funeral, let's say. Boom. And they would do the Dresden thing where they would send in a drone, shoot up a wedding or whatever, and then time it. Wait till the fire trucks come to put out the fires, and then go and blow them up too to hit the rescue workers. And it was a new toy. It's like, oh, look, we can bomb stuff with no risk of our pilot or anybody. Nothing will happen. It's just a toy. It's a robot, a killing machine. And yeah, they've increased. Trump had a lot of drone strikes. Obama had a lot of drone strikes. Bush, it wasn't really available to him as much. But as the drones improved and we got more of them, we used them more. It was simple math. It just went up as it was able to go up. And I really don't like that. Like, having skin in the game was one of the reasons you don't do stuff. Like, it's like, well, we could die too. When the gap's enough where they have enough advanced drones, like if they had those little robots shaped like dogs that could just run down into the tunnels, they would do that and go blow up Hamas with drones. They don't have them yet.
No, but you see that the reason why they flattened Gaza before they did all this aerial bombing is because they're not willing to risk their troops. They're not willing to because they're in their minds, in the calculus that they have, I think they've written off the hostages, that we're going to take them out and the Hamas fighters and the civilians as much as we can, so that when we actually do an actual ground invasion, because whenever they're doing a ground invasion, they're having it handed to them by Hamas fighters. I mean, everyone's seeing the footage. Abu Ubaidah,
they're lying about that too.
100%.
They got all these evac helicopters taking out their wounded and dead. So they're getting shot up. They're losing tanks too. There's 105 Yassins are lighting them up. They're blowing up Gaza because they can, and it's ethnic cleansing. They want to force them to move. Over and over again, they're like, let's force them to Egypt because there's no right of return, and they plan on annexing more territory. What's wild is they assume, and possibly rightly so, that they can just murder all these innocent people and that it's okay. Nothing will happen in the future. There won't be any sanctions on Israel. There won't be any consequence. And they might be right. No one will do anything.
I mean, you remember that Bush said...
I really think there's not a solution until you fix America. No, like, America's the bully. Like, okay, let's say America sat this one out. 100% all their neighbors are getting up on Israel. 100%.
Yeah.
The threat is the United States.
No, but if two things. Number one, I remember when Bush, it was before the Iraq war, he said that he was following the prophecy of Elijah or some insane biblical nonsense.
Oh, he's on a new crusade, he said.
Yeah, no, and there was a quote by the French premier where he said something to the effect of, I have to fight Gog or Magog or something. Some insane Bible prophecy that he was following. And the other thing is, when you have this kind of insane Christian Zionism in America, and on the other hand, you said that...
Can you imagine thinking you're the hand of God's will and like you're going to implement the Bible? Like you?
It's insane. It's genuinely insane.
Yeah.
It's genuinely... on the other hand, you said something very fascinating, that if the moment of America sits this one out, that their neighbors would attack and then they would deal with Israel. Judea was a Roman colony, right? And then eventually the Romans got bored of it, and then you had Hadrian coming in, and when they created enough trouble, when Judea was enough of a problem, Hadrian came in and he slaughtered the people, and I'm not going to say America is going to do that, but when does Rome, in this scenario, which is America, get bored of this only democracy in the Middle East that it's been propping up for at least 60, 50 years, if not, the whole 75. When do they
I
get
think Ehud
bored?
Barat was right when he worried is that no Jewish empire exists more than 80 years, and we're on year 75. The clock is running out. The American people, there's protests in every major American city. They're sick of it. And it really has been Telegram and Twitter being able to show people, like I said, people lack imagination, be able to see the atrocities to finally shake them off the couch and go, okay, this needs to be a frontline issue, like their border or the healthcare you can't afford or whatever. Like, stop sending billions of dollars to Israel and Ukraine.